guys. So, let's do a face-off. Now, this era of Hollywood, comic book movies have dominated the landscape. With Marvel, even some of the recent DC films, and, it can feel a sort of a monopolization in a more metaphorical kind of way in terms of that genre. However, every once in a while we'll get a superhero movie that's not really based on any comics and not even based on pre-existing characters. And I am talking about two films like that have come out this year already. Glass by Shyamalan and Brightburn from the from James Gunn and his brother and I think also cousin. So, Glass Glass is the third and final installment of Shyamalan's superhero series, also including the 2000 film Unbreakable and the 2017 film Split. Brightburn, releasing this year, already released, takes the whole Superman origin story. We ask the question, what if Superman was a psychotic killer deep inside and used his powers for evil once he started discovering his powers? Now, for this face-off, I'm not really going to do my whole structured rounds. I just want to do a general comparison because while there are some similarities, they are pretty different films. Shyamalan's is more slower paced, very similar to Unbreakable and Split. And also, it is technically a sequel, having Bruce Willis as David Dunn, James McAvoy's Kevin Crumb, and Samuel Jackson's Mr. Glass all come together in one movie. With Brightburn, it's more, this is the first film, with some people who are thinking, we would like to see more of this. It's sort of dark DC version universe is what we might like to see this as. However, it does bring some interesting ideas to the whole superhero genre. With Glass, it's more of a realistic, what would actual superheroes be like in the real world kind of look that was seen in Unbreakable, a little bit in Split, but not until we realized at the very end it was a secret sequel to Unbreakable. And we do get a more idea of how some people might view people who think they are indeed superheroes. With Brightburn, it is more comic book-y, but it also takes a more fun idea that's been played around with, especially in recent years, regarding what if Superman was evil and what that might look like. So while Glass takes a more realistic approach, more grounded, Brightburn embraces the more comic book aspects of a superhero film, also playing with its own ideas. Now, I know I'm in the minority when I say that I actually really did like Glass, although I will admit it's not a perfect film. Brightburn seemed to get a similarly mixed response, but I think, from what I can tell, there are actually a lot of people that do generally really like the film. I mean, sure, it may not delve into the more questioning dark aspects of a Superman character as deep as some people might like, but it does play with the idea around enough to be pretty entertaining and have some pretty cool moments, actually. And the fact that it was on a really small budget is also quite impressive. And of course, Glass, being a Shyamalan film, does get caught up in its own dialogue every now and then. Now, the dialogue actually does play with some cool ideas and themes. Some of them you might argue were better explored in Unbreakable, but it still plays with the idea of a realistic version of superheroes, playing with the idea of how comic books might relate to how there might actually real life superheroes is twisted in a way to make it more entertainment, but that these people do exist. It does take a more, I guess I'd say, philosophical approach in a sort of way. Brightburn, it does play around with its own ideas, but it is ultimately there for entertainment because you know what this movie's about and we'll give it to you kind of way. Although that's not to say that it's not a smart film in its own way. I mean, yeah, I could see Superman doing this kind of stuff, and stuff like that could very much happen with a Superman-like character. So, this is going to end up being a really short movie face-off video, I can already tell. But these two films I feel like do have a lot to offer in terms of the superhero genre, idea, themes. As for which one is the better one, that's a tough question to answer. I know not everyone is a big fan of the film Glass, but there are definitely some parts and moments that people really do love seeing on screen. And with Brightburn, even if you don't think it couldn't go as deep with its ideas as it could, it also gave some pretty intense scenes of its own. So I guess that's really what it comes down to in terms of which film is better for this face-off. Which movie leaves you with better scenes that will stick out in your mind more? Personally, oh, this is a tough one. I guess in a way I'd have to go with Glass, mainly because it does have characters that I've seen in other films that I have grown a little bit more attachment to. With Brightburn, it has the potential to actually surpass Glass, but only if there is a potential sequel that might delve a little deeper into certain ideas. But Brightburn, I think, is still very much worth watching if you're even a little bit curious about it. So yeah, this is actually a really short face-off video. Which means that the next face-off I have to do has to be longer. And trust me, I've got the perfect face-off in mind for that one. That's all I have to say for right now. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys next time.